everyone. This is Myra McKnight with Can We Talk, and I have an amazing, well, you all know who this person is. But anyway, I'm going to say is Mario Brown, who is a life coach strategist for people that are stuck, people that need to move into a different direction. And Mario is the kind of person he is. He's genuine, but he's tough, and he's full of reality. And he's not going to let you just skirt by and say, whoa, it's me. He's not going to play the victimhood. And I like that because I think a lot of times with coaches and strategists, people that are helping people, you got to be tough. You got to show that tough love. You can't let a person just cry on your shoulder 24/7 because you're not doing them any favors with doing that. But Mario does a lot of things. He's a pastor. He's a person that knows about what's going on in Washington. He's a person that's passionate about relationships and building relationships with people. And he's a debater. He's a strong debater. And he has a lot to say and a lot of wisdom. So without any more of that, we have an amazing conversation we're going to have today. And the conversation is about what a lot of ladies have wanted to talk about. And they were afraid to talk about it. And I don't care if you know what I say. You could be in the club, you could be in the church. At the end of the day, you are a woman, you are a man. And you have feelings, and as long as you suppress them, that's okay if that's what you want to do. But there are people who don't want that. We're going to talk about older women dating younger men, and Mr. Mario is going to come on. He's going to give us some tidbits about it, and he's going to tell us about himself. So welcome, Mario. How are you?
I'm great, Myra. Thank you so much for having me. It's great to be back with you again. You stimulate me mentally so much because I love your topics. I love the way you go at it. And I think that you're helping a lot of people. And I'm really proud of the work you do.
Well, I thank you for that. And that is my whole goal, is to be practical and to touch people where they are. Because you know what, Mario, you know as well as I do, people don't like to admit where they are.
Absolutely.
They don't like to admit, they don't like to say, I feel. You know, they can always feel bad, but they don't like to say, I feel good, I feel sexy, I feel confidence. They don't like to talk about those things, but that's what we are made of. And this topic is, with a whole lot more, was pretty close to a lot of lady friends that I know and some of my clients that are single. And these people have had a life before, which a lot of us did. I got married, my second marriage, so I had a life before. But when you get to that point, you have a life before, that doesn't mean you stop living. And you have to move on. And so women are struggling with, how do I, or should I, why should I, a younger guy, you know, this one lady said, this guy was hitting on me, but he was just too young. Now, I'm like, was he 18 years old? You know, you're 40, was he 18? Yeah. I'm like, well, he wasn't 18. I said, was he 25? You know, I'm like, oh, was he? You know, he was probably like 38, 39. I'm like, what? You need to stop that mentality.
Yeah.
So talk to us, Mario. What do you think?
Well, you know what? I think this is a very interesting subject because I think first we must establish that social norms as well as sexual norms have changed.
Right.
And so it is now perfectly okay for a woman to be in touch with her sexuality, her sensuality, without guilt, without shame.
Yeah.
Previously, women were conditioned to feel that they had to be very, very modest in order to be thought of as respectful.
Yeah.
And I think that some of that still exists, particularly when we are accustomed to seeing the older man and the younger woman.
Yes.
Personally, I had a very interesting maturity life. I started out always being attracted to older women.
Yeah.
Because growing up in the church, I was a young singing preacher. Okay. So older women were always telling me, oh, you did so good, and da-da-da-da-da. So I was always attracted to them. I remember my first sexual encounter was with someone. I was 18, she was 38.
Wow.
Yeah, I had gone, my mom was a teacher, and I had gone to an event, and she was a dance teacher, and I met her there.
Okay.
And there was chemistry there, and that was my first experience.
Okay.
That experience began to shape my mind around intimacy because the one thing that she did not do was allow it just to be sexual, but she taught me sensuality.
Yes, yes.
Taught me to be in touch with that and what it meant. Now, as I got older, younger women started being attracted to me.
Right.
Okay, because I guess I have this daddy thing, maybe, like this older gentleman kind of thing or whatever. But older women now are becoming a little bit more comfortable expressing who they are, what they feel, and they have to give themselves permission first.
That's true. And
not take the permission slip from the world.
That's true. That's so true.
You see what I mean? That's where it really begins.
Yeah.
Now, the only thing I say is this: when like for the woman who is reemerging, she's you said getting her life back.
Yeah.
The thing that she has to do is she's got to become educated about what the world looks like now out there. Because it is nice. She was married for a little while and she was in that married life, raising her kids, building the career. If she's trying to reemerge into the world now, it looks different. The game is a little different. You know what I mean? And so she has to educate herself first. Before she gets out there, she can't go out there without being educated as to what's up.
Okay.
She's got to find,
Now tell me, what does she need? When you say she needs to be educated, in what way? Tell me in what way, because I know you're not talking about education, but educated in what way does she need?
Right. She needs to understand that the climate in the world today starts off with sexuality and sensuality.
Yeah.
She has to know that the probability of her getting out there now, building a relationship for long term is slim.
Correct.
She gotta
Absolutely.
Right. She's got to get with that, because maybe if she's in her 40s and in that 50 age group, it was about trying to build something. It ain't like that.
Yeah. So she got to go in with not that high expectation of something, don't go in saying, I want to get married.
Right.
Don't go in. And I think what you're saying and what I believe is that when you get past that 40 age group, you've already done your thing the first half, you go in enjoying the experience.
Absolutely.
More so than going in, I want to get married, I want him to do that. You should already be established in your own self, in your own right, because I do think that attracts younger men as well. Because a younger man does not have any use for a woman that doesn't take care of herself, doesn't have her own, she don't have a car, she don't have, she can lay her credit card down and say, I'll pay for dinner and don't mind doing it.
Absolutely. Now that's the other piece though. That's where the shades of gray come in. Because if, let's say she's in her 40s or 50s.
Okay.
She came through an era where the man took care of everything.
Right.
That a part of him being that dude, a part of him being that one that was the baller was to take care of everything. Well, now if she's going to start dealing with a younger dude, she's got to be prepared to pay.
Absolutely.
That's the reality. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
She's got to, because 9 times out of 10, if he's younger, he may not be as established. So she has to identify, first of all, if she wants sex or if she wants a relationship.
Absolutely. And she can have both of those, provided that her mind and her emotions are intact.
Absolutely.
Because if you go there as a victimhood, talking about where you've been, what happened to you, who did what to you, and playing the violin, then he doesn't see you as that confident, strong woman, because we're good of talking about our problems and what the last person did. This is if this is a new chapter in a woman's life, then she needs to come out with confidence.
Sure.
And it's not, it can be two ways, just like you said. If it's all sex, then it's all sex. But at a certain point, that fizzles out anyway.
Absolutely.
And you have to look at it from a conversational piece, an intimacy piece, a companion piece. It builds from there.
She's got to consider economics too, though.
True.
Because I think the financial lovemaking piece is something that once you get caught up with, like, this has been my experience. I've coached people in this arena. The 40-year-old woman is going crazy with her sex drive at 40.
Yes.
So now she thinks, okay, well, I don't really want the dude that's my age or older because he ain't gonna really be able to do this.
Yes.
So
Yes. Yes.
now, because of 50 Shades of Grey and all my girls are talking about these hookup sites and all that stuff, I need somebody that can go ahead and take me through.
Right.
So
Right.
when they meet someone young, they have to realize that they may get hooked on the sex. But you can't, that's why I say you got to prep before you get out there, because you got to be able to say, okay, but what if that is great, but financially he's not able to build a relationship with me?
Yes.
And after a while, as you said, Myra, that's going to fizzle out, because I need to be able to meet someone who is also financially compatible.
Absolutely.
And I think that's why on the front end, women have to sit down and make some concessions, make some constitutional agreements with themselves,
right,
and have a real reality check.
Absolutely. She needs to know who she is.
Yes.
She needs to know who she is. She needs to have all her bases covered for what she needs. And understand that when you meet this younger man, you're going to have some form of sexual frustration.
Sure.
And that's what you're going after, because what you focus on grows. Mm-hmm. And you have this young guy and you're looking at him, it's like, oh, wow, this is it. You know, wow. But you cannot confuse, and I hear you saying this, Mario, you cannot confuse sex with love or
Absolutely.
Sex with a relationship.
Absolutely.
And you have to be okay, real talk, that if you get involved with this person, that if he don't call you tomorrow, you got to be okay with that.
You got to be okay with that. And you know, and one thing I know about women is that your emotional base, the way you're built, is for true companionship. I get that.
Right.
That's not a bad thing at all. But what has to happen is the re-emerging into this world now, because this is the way people are. You know, Mara, you know this. More younger people are not getting married. They're living together.
Absolutely.
Okay. And they also believe that monogamy is antiquated.
Yes.
Sure. That we should have multiple partners and that kind of thing. And their definition of commitment has totally changed.
Yes, true.
Okay. So that's why I say that it's so important to have these conversations, so that before you get out there, you're not left for dead. Because see, you go out there now with that old mentality from your 20s and 30s, and you out here in this game, you'll be roadkill.
Yeah, you will be totally. And then somebody has to come pick you up off the ground, because your emotions are just splattered everywhere. You know, and then you're like, woe is me, why can't I get somebody? Well, it's kind of like, you know, what kind of car do you want to drive? You want to drive an automatic, or you want to do a shift? You have to make the decision as to what's best for you. But if you don't know that, and that's what happens with women when you don't know that. I say to ladies that are in that transition like you got to put your big girl panties on, and you got to be okay one way or the other. If you go, you go. You stay, you stay. Because, and this sounds selfish, but I believe that when a woman gets to a certain point, she's single, she got her stuff together. What she has to do is, if she's thinking more about her and how she feels, if she's in that position of dating a younger man, those things are going to mesh together if they're supposed to. But if you go in thinking that you're going to do acrobats to keep him, then you are totally in the wrong space at that time.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what, Myra? Interesting you said that, because I think that I want to say this first. I absolutely believe that there are relationships that can work. I don't want people to think that there's no hope.
Oh, that's
not it.
Yes,
but
that's true. That's
true. I believe in proactive movement.
Absolutely.
We have to think in terms of, before I build this house, let me count the cost. Let me count the cost of what I'm about to do. Now, this is the thing that I learned even as an older man dating younger women. The timetable isn't going backwards. It's going forward. So 9 times out of 10, where I've been, she hasn't been. Right. The way I process is within my age group. It is from my experiences, and she hasn't experienced it yet. So there's going to be a disconnect at some point.
Yes, at some point. Right.
And that's what we have to sit down after making mistakes, after going through a lot of drama. We have to sit down and say, okay, they are going to still be wanting to look at the Real Housewives. I'm looking at documentaries. But it means that there's going to be a disconnect, and you've got to be able to make those concessions on the front end, going in knowing that we've got to find those places that we do connect and be able to communicate that and be okay. As you said, Mara, be okay with that. But I think this one more. I think that when the older woman goes out, she can't be too vulnerable in this sense.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she can't be too vulnerable
You
because
you can't be all like you're going through a drug withdrawals.
Yeah, right. See, but what's going to happen? There's some younger dudes out here that literally target cake mamas. That's just it. Cake mamas. They're called cake mamas, like a cake dad.
Oh,
That's the
cake.
Yeah, cake.
Oh.
Yeah. C-A-K-E. Yeah. See, she's a cake mama. Okay. Let's take it like this. Everybody knows that Vivica Fox, right, was dating big age difference.
Okay.
There was nothing that, okay, Vivica in her 50s going to the club, sitting in the middle of 18-year-olds. I don't care how much work you have done, you ain't 18, cuz. Come on.
18. You're not.
And people could see that you're still Auntie Viv in the midst of younger women.
Sure.
And so they would never, her and Slim were never going to work because they're from two different worlds. Right. He's in age category where they're thinking differently, they're acting differently, and no matter what, you're 50 years old, you can't compete with a 22-year-old. There's no need to get into that game.
No. And I should say, you can't compete with a 22, nor can she compete with you.
Not at all.
Because that happens. Now, that competition can go on different levels. If you're talking about, and I guess you can talk about body-wise, but I don't know, you can go that route. But the intellect and the wisdom and the ability to navigate your emotions is where you have that leg up on the younger woman. And going back to what you,
I said we hope she can navigate her emotions, because I got some folk that are absolutely emotional wrecks at 52 years old. You know what I mean? That's why I always say, well, let's sit down and let's unpack all of that first. Before you go back out, let's unpack this first, because you may go, as you said, Myra, with an expectation that's going to leave you for dead. Absolutely. The expectation is the problem. So when you meet a guy who's, let's say, 24, you're 48, there may be a sexual thing, and he's looking at you saying, okay, she's a cake mama. She's driving a Benz, she got her own house, she's educated, she's selling. What she's wanting me to do is to be her boy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to work. I'm going to serve her. She's going to buy me Jordans. I'm going to serve her. She's going to get me an Xbox. She's going to serve her. She's going to get the Coronas. I'm going to serve her. She's going to take me on vacation. And all I'm doing is working. Now, if that works for you, so be it. But you can't start it and then go and change the rules.
You just, and that right there, that's totally out of the question. That's totally out of the question, because if you do those things, you can surely expect that to run out.
Oh, definitely.
I've had clients where they did all of this, and then what they did, the more they did, they expected him to do. So that meant that you did that thinking that you were going to get loyalty from him. And you're not going to get any loyalty. You're going to get what you got, and you're going to end up spending more money than you had before you met it. So I believe, working with women with that, and then me understanding that as well myself personally, that when you have made a decision that this is what I want and I'll take nothing less than what I want, then you're able to go out and negotiate the rest.
Sure.
But there has to be a boundary within me that says this is unacceptable, that is unacceptable, because you know what? I've been by myself for the last 10 years as far as not being married, so I can continue to go back doing that.
Right.
I'm doing this because of companionship, but it's got to be you have to decide, do you want to pay 80-20 or you want to do 50-50? There's sometimes you might do 60-40, but you still have to understand as a woman, and even as a man, because honestly, there are men who do want, just like you were saying, who do admire older women, younger men relationships, because they don't want children or they've had children. The maturity level of there has to be, and I think the key, Mario, is that woman has to be mature enough, and she can't be chasing them around outside with the sunlight with a flashlight.
That's right.
Okay, she can't do that.
I like that.
You know, you can't, when he come in like, where you been? What you doing?
Right.
That's why he got into a relationship with you. Not that, it's not that that woman is a pushover. It's
Right.
just that you are calm in your own self and you're confident in your own self. Whereas if you feel you need to check, then you know how to check.
Right. Absolutely. Well, you know what this comes down to, though, Myra? Value system.
Right.
This is about your value system.
Mm-hmm.
And this is one of the things that I take my clients through is let's situate your value system. If you don't know or you're quite unsure of what you value for real,
Yes.
then you're going to go in just kind of taking shots in the dark. What you got to do is to sit down and figure out, what is my value system? What do I value most about myself, number one? What do I value most concerning my mental state, my emotional state, my financial state? These are value things that need to really be accounted for, because at the end of the day, they're going to come up.
Right.
Because a part of the value system that I stress to my clients when we're talking about relationship recovery is maybe your value system changed.
Yes.
Maybe that's what happened to you. Maybe you had a value system in that season, but in this season, it has somehow changed, and it changed beyond your awareness.
Absolutely.
That's why you got to stop for a moment and say, has my value system changed? How do I see myself first? Not them. It's about how you see yourself first.
Absolutely.
Because I think what I find, Myra, is that too many consider what does he want versus what do I want?
No.
What is his value system? What is he looking for versus what you're looking for? You know why? Because women have been told that their list was too extensive. You need to minimize your list to get somebody. And so what they were doing consequently is also chipping away at their value system, though.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then they were never happy. Then they go in with the excitement and the celebration of a relationship, but then it kind of fizzles out, because you're exactly correct. That's why I said some women think that it's selfish because they're thinking about them. But if you think about it, what I say to ladies that are in that transition of coaching is that you are more complicated than he is. Men are not that complicated.
Wait, stop.
No.
Say that again. See, I love that men are not that complicated.
They are not.
Women are more complicated, and that's not a negative.
No, it's not a negative. It's an observation. It's an observation, because if I realize I'm more complicated than my husband, I accept that. So then I need to deal with those intricate parts of me that could kind of clash with him.
But let's stop right there. Hold on, Myra. I don't even want to. I gotta say this because you just hit something. The intricate parts of you being complicated has to be so unpacked also, because we need to find out if your complication is coming from insecurity.
Absolutely.
If it's coming from some false place.
Something in the past. Bad relationship.
Absolutely. That's why people need you and I. They need people.
And they don't understand that they need you and I, because women, and I tell the ladies all the time, and I tell men, when women, we can do a lot of this, a whole lot, but we are basically surmised to like a Christmas tree with the lights flashing.
Right.
Because we sometimes don't even know what space we're in from day to day. We can say we do, but honestly, we don't. But it's easier if there's some things men need a whole lot more. But generally, if you're going to give them, they got some food, they got a nice home, they got a beautiful relationship, or they got a woman or a wife, a companionship, he's able to make some money, and he has sex. Those are some core foundations that makes a man happy. Now, women are about 4 or 5 times more than that is what they need. And when you don't understand what you need, then you're honing in on something else. Because if you're in your 40s, you're going into your height part of sexuality. So if all you do is get that, that's going to fizzle out in a lot of ways. But then you can have a bad relationship with good sex. And the unfortunate part about women, they'll hold on to a relationship because of the good sex.
Oh my God. Please, let's stop right there, Myra, because you just opened something up. like, so I had a client, 44, connected with a 26-year-old. The sex.
Wait a minute, man, it was a 44?
Yeah, the young man, older woman. All right. So the sex was dynamic, off the chain.
Yeah, right.
And so this person, when he had his fill of that, he starts moving on.
Absolutely.
And she lost her mind.
Yes, she did.
She began stalking. She began tearing up cars. She began going to the other female's house. She began doing all these things, not sleeping, not eating, the whole thing. Because ultimately, what she did was she judged the legitimacy of the relationship based on the quality of the sex.
Absolutely.
Versus emotional connectivity. And that's why we have to also recognize with men that if you're going to deal with a younger man, particularly in this cultural and climate right now,
right,
the probability of monogamy is very little.
Absolutely. But it goes back to not knowing you, and as you said, not being ready to step out into this culture.
Yeah.
Because if you step on this culture, you 44, you should know that this 24-year-old has not finished.
Yes.
He stopped at the door. Okay? He's still going to Sally's and Jane's and Joe's and whoever he needs to go to, because he's not done yet. He is still, as women do, ovulating. He's still, when I say male, ovulating. Sure. So him jumping here there is not a priority. It's just a thing.
That's right. That's
okay,
right.
But the woman that's 44, although she's at the height of her sexuality, it's not just a thing, because she's. How do you think in 44 that a 24-year-old man is going to just latch on to you because of, and it's not that you don't take anything away from you. He's not ready for that.
Sure. Absolutely.
So you have to look at and that was something I wrote down. Not only are you looking at where you are, you have to look at the age of the individual as well.
Absolutely.
How old are you and how old is he? Now,
right.
You're 44, you trying to get just coming out of 20 slot. He only been on this earth 20 years.
Yeah.
And what do you think you're going to get from that?
Absolutely.
You're going to get just what you're getting.
Right. You're going to get the thing that and I think that women have to own what they really want. We talked about this and we have to come back, because all roads go back to owning what you desire and not trying to make more of it than it is based on the quality of what you're getting. See, because if he's telling you you look great, you look fine, you can't buy into the whole thing of, oh, I got a 24-year-old that think I'm fine. And
Absolutely.
And you could be fine. You could be great, beautiful, the whole nine.
Absolutely.
But still, you got to put in the cultural factor. One of the things I always teach, even when I'm preaching, is before you embrace this within the context of your understanding, let's look at the culture.
Right.
Let's look at the cultural context.
Right. And
so now, okay, like for instance, there's this thing that happens around major Black hubs in the country, all right? Chicago, Atlanta, and it's called, well, I won't call the name, but I'll just say where these professionals gather.
Okay.
They do not exchange names, but they're professionals. They're doctors, lawyers, Indian chiefs, whatever. They're very, very successful Black people. Okay. And they come together for these hedonistic weekends where they just have just unrelentless sex, just do whatever with strangers.
Right.
All right. Now these are some people that are in their 40s and 50s or whatever, and they're just but the younger guys show up because of that, right? Right. The older guys are showing up for the younger women, but they're on Viagra. I think we got to deal with the whole physiology part of this too, is that the older we get, the less sex we want. Yeah. Now we're trying to talk. Now we're trying to be emotional. Right. You're trying to get it at 40. You're trying to just get it. So now the culture has told you it's okay. The only thing I'm saying is it is, but one must know that this is a different world.
Yeah. Right.
It's a different world now. Even him introducing you to maybe a menage a trois. Are you open to that? Are you open to maybe he's bisexual? Yeah. Is he open to? Are you open to those things? You got to sit down and have real talks about what's in the culture now before you get out there. You know, we got to be really careful, because You got this whole thing now where you used to could go get a shot for STD, but you can't play like that anymore.
Yeah.
You can't play like that because it's
and that's a darker kind of a door that people go into. But I agree with you, because even in my premarital, I always talk to them about your fantasies. Talk about those things that you like, or you think you like, or you might like. Because if the tendency is there, it's going to eventually come out. And so I'm saying to the ladies and the men, before you come together, have that conversation, because you don't want to get married and then a midget knocks on the door and you don't know why. You know, so it's kind of like, and you married, and then look, you in the church and you don't want now. You say God brought you this man. Now all of a sudden you can't tell nobody, so you got to deal with him and the midget. So it's crazy.
That's
so
right.
You do have to know what you want, and you have to be steadfast and unmovable about your life and what you're going to do. You got to know about that. You got to know, do you frequent the club? My grandmother would say, where you find them, where you meet them is where you're going to find them. And if you're at the club 24/7, and then when y'all have a spat, go down street to the club. You're going to find them there. But we're not thinking, because when you're talking about the value system for women, you know, let's deal with the woman who is just a legitimate older woman. She ain't got a lot of hang-ups, a lot of problems. She's not into a lot of, because when we talk about the age, a 24-year-old man that is bouncing around, his testosterone level is a lot higher than the man that's 40 or 45. Sure. Okay, so when you know that, when you do your research and your homework, you know that, then you might be a little higher than him, but at least you're going to be closer to a balance point than you would if you went to the guy that's 24. Okay, and so women have to put in perspective what's important. Make sure you got yourself together. Make sure you got your money in your pocket. You driving your car. What are your boundaries? Are you going to give him your car, let him drive and come pick you up from work? Really? Seriously? Yeah. Are you going to do that? So what are your boundaries when it comes to building? Because you can build a relationship. Let's talk about some of the people that are doing that. And I looked at Tina Turner, just some people in our culture. Tina Turner, husband, she's been with him 35 years. Husband is 11 years her junior. Okay, and they got married a couple of years ago. She got married at 72. Look at Gladys Knight. Gladys Knight, he's 17 years older than her. And what you said about the culture matters, because look at Mariah Carey. She was in a, I don't know where she was. I don't know what pill she was on. I don't know what happened to her. Overnight in Vegas, she married young guy. What's his name?
Nick Cannon.
Nick Cannon. She married Nick Cannon. And now, you know, of course, you bring two beautiful babies in the world. But was it something that needed to happen in your life, or something? What were you looking for? Was it just about the sex? He had a true admiration for her for a long time.
Right. And I can tell you, remember, Mariah was used to older rich men.
Yes.
See, once they got too old, her sex drive started requiring.
Absolutely.
And here comes Nick. Here comes young Nick. You know, he has this roundaway kind of thing. Yes. That could give her what they want, and they met, but it couldn't last. It couldn't last anymore, you know. Yeah. I think, Myra, what you're saying is too, and I guess I want to put this in there. The older woman has to also recognize that because her sex drive is going to be higher at 40.
Yeah.
Even if she gets a younger man, she's got to recognize the fact that if even younger men feel like that's all you want, they're going to be turned off. Don't be thinking that because he's younger, that's all he wants to do.
That is true too. That is absolutely true, because every younger man does not, because he feels as though he's being used.
Absolutely. And that's something that I think that women have to go in knowing too.
Absolutely.
If I'm hounding him and he can't come over without that, after a while, he's going to shut down emotionally.
Absolutely.
And be bothered. And I think that women need to know that on the front end as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. They can't project that if that's their issue, and more than likely it's not totally their issue, but they just kind of feel like that this kind of comes along with the territory, and it makes them feel good. So it comes along with the territory, but you as an older woman wants to make sure that she has a good chance of having a solid relationship with a younger man, because she can.
Right.
I think that personally, I think when you're going past 15 years, I think you've gone over, I think, because that's just my opinion, because you have to be in a balanced situation. You got to look in the future too. That's important. 20 years difference. A younger man does for a younger man does for an older woman just as what an older man does for a younger woman, or vice versa. Mm-hmm. But with a man, it's about, he's got to keep sending them duckies out. He got to keep paying that money, because she gonna only last for so long. He gonna only last so long, and she's gonna only be with him for so long, because her sexuality is still growing as well. So it is, like you said, it's a research, and I think it should be a community of older women that facilitated by me, so that I can help you understand that
absolutely
you can't just go out there because he's not. You there?
Right.
Okay.
See, yeah, I'm here. You know what though? You're so right though. You know, and I think that this thing is so much, as I always say, so much meat on this bone. It's so much meat on this bone. You know what I mean? And what I'm hoping will happen is that people are able to have very honest and open conversations without fear of judgment, but can honestly say what they desire, what they want, and what their fears are. And I like to tell people both sides of it. There is going to be a fulfillment on one end, but there's also going to be a deficit on the other, because we're talking about time. We're still talking about time. Time is a major factor, because eventually, when that you get your feel of that, let's say that she feels sexually deprived. Once she's had her feel of that, she's going to want to secure that and make sure it's there. He's going to feel caged. He's going to feel that you're boxing him in. That's the reality. You see, that's the reality. So I think that, you know, we're talking about the culture. There are women, white women, and black men do this, but white women go to Africa and Brazil to have the little young boys. They just want that. And it's a contractual agreement. We go to Brazil, it's a contractual agreement. One of the things that is critical is, though, the returning home is key. What does that symbolize? It's, I must return to my reality. That wasn't real. That was something that I wanted for the moment. But when I returned to my reality says that wasn't all real. That was, it was real in the physical sense, but it's not reality day to day.
Right.
I'll figure out after this, what will my day to day be with you?
Right. And for men, and we all know that for men and women, that part of sexuality is totally different, where that can happen with a man and then that's done, it just happened, and I'm moving on. Women have to understand that they got a different part about them that connects, and it doesn't always be totally connected, but there's a part of an emotional part that's there, and then you glean to go back. Now, I know some women that are older, and they pay big money to go to the islands and meet men that are there, and their trip, they come back to reality, but their trip is to, I'm looking forward to every 6 months or every 90 days, I'm heading out to the Bahamas because I got a little something over there. That means that you live in, of course, a mask and living a lie to yourself. You don't have to go all the way over to the Bahamas to engage in a relationship that's what you want. You just have to be strategic about it, and you have to know what you want. See, that woman doesn't know what she wants. She knows what she feels.
Right.
But after that, she gets nothing else for that. And you still have your lonely nights. You still go out on your own. You still are having coffee by yourself. You're still going to the movies by yourself. So if you want to create and establish a relationship, you have to have one with yourself.
Sure. And I think that really, and I think that what happens is I think that a lot of times the difficult part of this is looking for someone who meets you on all levels. Because the fact of the matter is that we're not just one dimensional.
Yeah.
We're not just one dimensional. And I think that to thine own self be true.
Right. Right.
You got to be really true about it. I mean, that's to me, this whole conversation is about owning who you are, knowing who you are, owning that, not being ashamed to say, I'm too emotionally fragile for random sex.
Yeah, right.
See, I have a lot of clients that I ultimately concluded, you are too emotionally fragile to have random sex. You're not built that way.
Absolutely.
And that's okay. You know what I mean? You can't go out and do this random thing because for you, sex is marriage almost.
Right, right, absolutely.
Because that's where you are in your thinking.
Absolutely.
I think that people have to be very true about that, even in re-emerging.
Right.
You know, if you think about women who marry, who have built families,
right,
homes, you know what I mean? And they like companionship. They like to know that that security is there.
Right.
Then going out there now and trying to think that you can do that or you can give them enough sex that will secure it is a mistake from the onset.
Right. I think that too, what you're saying is so very important. I think that even when women are involved with a younger man, and I'm saying if you're over 40, okay? Not if you're younger, but if you're 40 and over, and the younger man, I say he's about 40, 45 years old, and you're older, within that range of 10, 15 years, I think that's doable. Even though that's doable, you still have to recognize that that doesn't mean security. And in this culture of relationship, there really is no security at all. Unfortunately, even those that I believe we talk to and we premarital and we get them ready, the chances of a 40, 50-year marriage is very slim. Yeah. It's very slim. And you really hate to say that because people love the idea of being married and walking down the aisle. But I believe that women and men should be able to stand up in his own souls and her own heels, because that 40, 50 year is too much hanging fruit, and it's too much landmines, too many that you're able to step on. And if you step on a landmine and you ain't together as a team, then it blows up the whole relationship. And people are not in the mood of dealing with issues for a long period of time.
Okay, let me ask you something, because you just really hit on something very powerful, and it's a painful truth. But the culture, we go back to our culture again, where people go in. I can't tell you how many people in the premarital state or the coaching that I do have actually gone in at that stage with a plan of exit. Yes. Now, if it doesn't work, I'm not looking forward to it, but I do want a wedding. The woman says, I do want the wedding.
Oh, yeah.
The guy says, well, I don't really care about that. This is my girl. I love her, because he's in that season of his life.
Right.
But then I've also seen it where they go into that same place with a girlfriend on the side. They got a side piece, you know, and they still say they love her. That's the culture, though, is that you're my wife, but this is my girl. This is my side piece.
Yeah.
You know, jump off.
Yeah.
And so a lot of women now, though, in the culture are saying, I'll be the jump off. You can have your wife, but you got to take care of me financially.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's the culture. So, like you said, to think that maybe you're going to be 30, 40. I love, you know, Dr. Bowler, Cassandra Bowler.
Oh, yeah.
I love her whole take on marriage, because she believes that marriage can be very, very long term.
Yes.
And I was so, you know, but she has put the faith factor in.
Yes.
She's put the faith factor in, and where people are equally yoked.
Yes.
The probability now, when you're dealing with the older and younger factor, is that they may not be, you know, faith yoked.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And their belief system with marriage. See, Cassandra has seen her parents really have a dynamic marriage.
Absolutely.
And I love her work. I love reading her work. And then, but when you have people who have not seen that, who have not been privy to it, they develop a doctrine concerning relationships.
Absolutely.
So again, if you have now been married, divorced, and now you haven't really unpacked the pain or what happened, you
Right.
got to sit down with somebody that can help you get that luggage unpacked before you go back out there, so that at least you go out there educated as to what you can get.
Yeah. And you know what? It is so true. And I agree with you with what you know, what you were saying about marriage. And I agree that faith component. But I also, just reality is,
Sure.
for what we have to do to live in this world today, the energy of an individual saying, I'm going to go and get this so I can go and get this. Being in a 40, 50-year relationship and I got to go get help so I can maintain that is kind of like, who cares? Honestly.
Right.
And it's horrible, but you know, and I you know, people can get it or they don't have to get it. But the reality is, you know, I come with people that they come in my office that he's cheating on her. They've had issues. They've had some domestic violence. They've had some things before, and even before premarital, I ask them if they've had those things. I suggest you go somewhere else, because that's not what I do. Because I can't talk to you about marriage when you got anger problems, for one, and you hitting on each other, for two, and you don't know how to keep your pants up or your dress down. So all kinds of people, there are so many pieces to the puzzle that we have neglected, Mario, to talk about.
Yes.
We have neglected to put it out here because people want to come together in the name of God. But then when you really unpack the stuff that's standing at some of those altars, and you really look at some of the dark places and the ideology and really, because you just doing this for one day, when the next day you're in a whole different space, you know, and you know, this is supposed to be a connection of love. You have people that have been married 30, 40, 50 years, but you ask them, and it looks good on paper and it looks good if we say that, but at the end of the day, it's not about the quantity of the years, but the quality of the years. And the quality might be 5, 6, 7, 10 years. And then you got 40 years. And we're in such a microwavable, blendable kind of culture that, you know, me included, I'm like, you know what? Paris is over there. You know, it's kind of like, you just kind of like, why expel all of that energy for somebody that maybe they'll get it right? Because you know what? It takes both of us. I'm gonna let you get to that. But it takes both of us to make this thing work.
That's right.
And if one person is the only one doing it and the other person's not, what are you supposed to do?
Absolutely.
You can pray all day long, and I do get it, Pastor. You can pray all day long if that person doesn't want to do it.
Listen, I think you said something that was just stirring in me. The problem is you're doing it in the name of God.
Yes.
But your ideology concerning it is yours and not his.
It is not God's ideology.
That's where the problem is that we keep thinking that man developed marriage. He didn't. The institution of marriage is from God.
Yeah.
But nobody's taught us, what does this look like? Because this is the thing. Even though it was God's idea, he also says, well, Paul says this, he who finds a wife findeth a good thing, and he obtaineth favor from the Lord. Now, here's the thing.
Right.
We haven't been taught what marriage really looks like, because all we've seen is flawed individuals come together and take a shot at it.
Right.
You see what I mean? And so what happens is when we don't, I said this to somebody, and they really, really would get mad with me. They're sitting in my church, too. Because they know I'm talking, they look at this, they'll know I don't care. They got mad because I said, your spouse does not need to be your best friend. Now that sounded loaded. Yeah. I said, why? Because what if your issue is with your spouse and you need to talk about them?
Right.
First, you need to first talk to somebody outside of this, right, so you can so you don't go home and mess up your house.
Yeah.
Because to me, a husband and wife is a higher degree than a best friend. Yeah. That is something that is way more honorable than friendships, because they break up every day.
They do.
You've got to have someone on the outside that you can reason with.
Right, right. That's
Because if you honor your wife and honor your husband as you should,
yeah.
that's much deeper, even in the eyes of God, than best friend.
Right. Yeah, because you have to have some type of an opportunity to talk about. But you know what a lot of people do, they talk to their friends or they'll talk to someone else. But when couples come in, I always have a meeting first with the woman all the
Yeah.
time, because at that point I can get a little bit more feedback as to what's going on in the relationship. And or either I have my husband, we speak to them separately, because coming in as a team, like you a team, and everybody's talking over everybody and nobody gets their point across. So it makes it difficult for couples to come together as one. And you're absolutely right. When they're in this circle is only for two people.
Mm-hmm.
It ain't for nobody else but two people. You and the Spirit of God is in this circle. And that door swings out, meaning
Wow.
that your children, your job, all of those others are on the outskirts of this particular circle. Because when he comes home, when she comes home, that's your saving space. That's your grace space. That's your love space. That's your growing space. Not conflict space, but that's where you grow each other as you grow older. But you can even make a decision, and going back to the older women, younger men, if you want a relationship that's going to be full of love and understanding, empathy, and not that you accepting anything, but that your expectations of what this relationship looks like will be met. And that's when you do have to make that decision to talk about it. Yeah. I'm not giving you bullet points, but this is what I like. What about you?
Absolutely.
I'm not telling you what to do, but do you enjoy these things? And be mature enough to say, you know what? You might not be the one. Because there's a... And that's okay.
That's okay.
Yes, it's okay. Every invite you get does not mean you have to accept it.
Absolutely.
It's okay if you don't do it.
Well, Myra, you know what? Let me say this. I know we're closing out, but you make so many pivotal points. And really something that you said is a tipping point for me. Mm-hmm. And that is, if I'm unaware that I'm built this way,
yeah,
then I can't have a comprehensive conversation with you. I've got to stay single long enough to get back in touch with the season my own life is in.
Right, sure.
Because my needs have changed. Right. My needs have changed. What I find funny ain't funny no more. I used to find it funny, rather. It ain't funny no more. You got to spend enough time alone. Yeah. And this is something that I find people have a real problem with. Spending time with yourself.
Absolutely.
You spend time with yourself and figure out, how do I like stuff? Like for me, like I have some OCD issues.
Yeah, yeah.
There's a certain way I gotta open my blinds.
Yeah.
There's a certain way my house gotta look. Right. There's a certain movement I make that I gotta have that way. Right. And some things I probably could adjust on, some I won't.
Yes.
Some that I'm more particular about now that used to didn't even bother me.
Yeah, yeah.
But you have to figure out if someone's coming in my space, this might be a point of contention.
Yeah, yeah.
So my thing is, each person, I encourage everybody to sit down before you even talk to anybody, talk to you. Yeah. Talk to yourself and figure out, put it on paper, write the vision, make it plain. Be honest about who you are. Mm-hmm. Be honest about your needs. Be honest about your insecurities, your fears. Talk about them to yourself first.
Absolutely.
And then talk to somebody and say, how do I get through this?
Yeah.
Because I don't want to go out there and be no burden to nobody.
Absolutely. And mess up anybody else's life because of how you feel. And that's what happens. Yeah, you don't want to do that. Well, Myra, it has been a pleasure as always.
Absolutely.
We always get into these hot topics, but these are things that have to be talked about. And I'm quite sure the audiences out there is going to be blessed with it, because a lot of people need to know, because they're afraid to ask these questions. And I'm excited about the feedback, knowing that it might not be good for some, but it's good for somebody.
That's right.
And that's an amazing thing. Let our audience know, which if they don't, how to get in touch with you if they need you to help them get to a point to where they are.
Thank you so much. You can reach me at www.mariocbrown.org. That's my website. I have Life Matters Life Coaching Services. It's a virtual coaching service where we don't have to be in the same city, but we have a secure, private setting that we can talk to. And my whole life is centered around helping you navigate and tread waters to a better life. So again, that's www.mariocbrown.org. I look forward to connecting with you. I really do.
Okay. Well, I thank you so very much. It's been a great spirited conversation as always, and we'll do this again. There's many more topics out here that no one wants to touch, but you and I seem like so.
Yes. Yes. Mara, thank you so much.
It's definitely good, and I'm grateful that you actually picked up the mantle to talk about that. We got some more. So I want you to have an amazing day. Keep doing amazing things. I truly appreciate you and what you bring to the table. So have a great day, and thank you for coming again.
Thank you.
All righty. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All righty. There we go. Mr. Mario Brown, coach, educator, life strategist. If you are having some issues, some problems in anything, especially those things that are hard to talk about, Mario is that person that you can talk to because it is out here and it's going to be here. Let's deal with it. Let's get it off the table. Take off the mask. Ask somebody who is a professional, and as Mario said, talk to yourself first, and ask those people that are professionals that can help you get over that thing that you don't want to talk to your guy friends about or don't want to talk to your girlfriends about. So this is Myra McKnight with Can We Talk. I am so glad and grateful, and I am blessed to have you in my space today. And if you are gone for today, I'll see you again on next Friday. If not, stay tuned. We have another guest that is going to come up with another amazing conversation, and we hope that you enjoy it. We try to bring things that are practical, that are important, and that are irrelevant for this time. Times are a lot changed. And for those out there, we do know God never changes, but I don't know. God changes as well. He changes you, and that's what's most important. So if you want to get clarity, don't forget us. This is Myra McKnight with Can We Talk. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you soon.